I recently watched a great video on the Struthless YouTube channel called How a Space Can Improve or Destroy Your Life. In this video, I'm going to share how I took notes on that video and some of the major takeaways that I would like to apply to the spaces that I spend my time in. This is a little bit of a follow-up to my previous video where I sketchnoted a conversation between Annie Murphy-Paul and the hosts of the Conceptually Speaking podcast. In her book, The Extended Mind, Annie Murphy-Paul talks about situated cognition, how your immediate surroundings impact how you think. So when I saw this recent Struthless video pop up on my feed, it felt like a great one to dig into. As you can see here, I started the note-taking process using index cards, tapping into the cognitive offloading that Annie Murphy-Paul also talked about, getting individual ideas down on index cards to be able to manipulate them and figure out how they fit together. For these, it felt helpful to number the cards to capture the order in which these ideas come up during the video in case I want to scrub back and re-watch any section, or just remind myself the order in which they came up. By the end of the video, I ended up with 16 index cards and started playing around with them a bit. First, moving them to the top of the page that I intended to fill, and then moving them completely to the side so that I had kind of a full blank page to think about how I might bring those ideas together. And what I landed on as a container for this kind of one-page summary was a simple sketch of the environment that I'm in right now. I've got my desk here where I'm doing my sketchnoting, got some drawers on either side of me, got a shelf above me. It felt like good alignment to use a sketch of this space to capture some ideas about how I might improve it. One of the most helpful ideas from the video was this one, that your space should represent the person you want to be. He talks about identity quite a bit in this video, a connection that I hadn't really made to my environment, that the things around you can bring out different components of your identity, which presents the opportunity to encourage some and maybe pull away from others. There's also the general tip here that surface is not storage. I definitely have some piles of books and some piles of paper around me that I think I need to organize and find a better place for, and the benefit of having less clutter in your space and more nature. The nature one's a little tricky for me because I'm in a basement space with no windows, which goes against one of the benefits of a study he cited about patients recovering and how those that had a window with a view out to nature recovered faster than those who had a window that faced a brick building. But maybe bringing in a fake plant that looks fairly realistic is something that I can do, and maybe also some images of nature might help. But the clutter piece is one that I can also address. Right now, mostly thinking about the couple of shelves that I have above me. That's kind of been where I've just stored a lot of random crap that doesn't need to be there. He also talks about this idea of making use of friction, of reducing friction around the activities that you want to take on. That aligns well with something that I've just recently started doing. At the end of each workday, I kind of clear my desk space and set it up with some sketch materials, pull some fresh paper out, get some markers out, and I also identify a source material that I'd like to sketchnote the following morning. I've got this window from 5:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. where I want to get some sketchnoting done and some recording done, which is much more likely to happen if I actually gather those materials and get everything set up so that when I wake up the next day, things are just ready to go. You can also add friction around the activities that you would like to not engage in. So perhaps silencing your devices, maybe getting them out of sight, keeping some things out of the house entirely, that Tom Bilyeu Doritos example. Another tip was to surround yourself with purposeful decorative objects. That's what I would like to have more of on the shelves above me once I declutter them. And here I think about having a photo of my family and maybe also a photo of nature. Maybe something from the Oregon coast, one of my favorite places in the world, maybe the Wallowas in Eastern Oregon, another favorite spot, or even just a photo of like a forest. Maybe Forest Park here in Portland, one of my favorite places to go hike. Those are the types of things that can connect you to the particular identity that you want to inhabit. They remind you of who you want to be. There's also an encouragement to simply follow your intuition. Remove the things that don't feel good about your space and add things in that do feel good to you. There are lots of other ideas and studies cited in that video, so do go check it out if you haven't seen it already. My plan here is to focus on the decluttering and then bringing in a few meaningful objects, maybe some fake nature and some photos that remind me of aspects of my life that I want to have at the forefront when I'm in this space attempting to do meaningful creative work. Speaking of creative work, if you're interested in developing the type of visual note-taking that I shared here, that's precisely what I teach inside of Verbal to Visual. There you'll find a bunch of complete at your own pace online courses and weekly live workshops where we continue exploring these skills. You can learn more about that at verbaltovisual.com. Thank you so much for watching. Shout out to Struthless. His videos are amazing. Go subscribe there if you aren't already, and subscribe here if you want some more sketched goodness. See you again soon.